My name is Lynn Vartan, and I am from Southern Utah University, and this is Connor Cushman, who's going to be helping me out today. We are here talking about the 2021 All-State Percussion Etudes for the state of Utah. Yay! So we're going to be talking about the mallet one, and if you want to just get ahead and listen to the piece, you can go ahead to the end of the recording. Connor will be playing the whole etude through for you. But we thought we'd give you some tips and tricks on really making the etude great and really making your audition stand out. So here we go. This piece is a rondo. It is from Mozart, so it's got to have a certain kind of Mozart sound and style. So what is the Mozart sound and style? Typically that means light, bouncy, airy. It's going to have a really sort of bright quality to it. So I can demonstrate a little bit. If we just play a normal sort of legato, that's fine, good sound and everything. But if we want to get a little bit of that Mozart bounce, we're going to try to have a little more staccato lift. And that's just going to give it a little more energy, a little bit more character to it. And that'll be really helpful in this piece, especially with all the repeated quarter notes and repeated notes, just to kind of give it that style. The second thing that I want to tell you about is tempo. This is marked at half note equals 88. That's really important to just get in that sweet spot. Not too fast, not too slow, just right. The other thing about it is that it needs to have a half note feel. So instead of really being 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, digga dum, bum bum, you really want it to have a half note feel. But do ding gum, ging gum, 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 digga dum, bum, bim, bum, bum. So that really lilts that way. That's really important to really get this sound exactly right. Okay, we also want to talk a little bit about stand placement. We have the stand placed here way on the top end of the instrument. And that's perfect for this piece because I don't think you go much lower than this D above middle C. So you're really only using this range. So just put the stand right there. Don't put the stand right in the center of the instrument. Put it where you're going to need it, where it's really going to help you. Okay. Also in this piece, I mean, dynamics are always important, but in this piece, I think that dynamics are really going to be what makes a recording stand out. So a couple things to take note. There's a lot of exaggerated dynamic changes from loud to soft, and then it stays soft for a while. Make sure that you really grab those. For example, at letter A, you have that sforzando roll, and then it gets soft for like 3 or 4 bars. Stay soft. Don't creep back up. So really stay soft there. Same thing with the next line. Letter B, like the first 4 bars of letter B, start soft and stay soft until the crescendo starts. It can be really easy to kind of get in a groove and creep up, but you really want to just stay soft throughout. And remember, dynamics in percussion are equal to height. So if you're trying for soft, make sure your mallets are really low and close to the keyboard. If you're trying for loud, they can be a little bit higher. All right, so then the next thing that we want to talk about is mallet choice. So I'm going to have Connor go ahead and play the intro with the mallets that we've chosen for him to use for this piece. Awesome, thank you. So that's a great sound for it. That's what we ended up choosing for him to use today. But let's see what it sounds like with a couple of other ones. Let's have you start with these. Great. Also a great sound. So the first ones that we used, the ones that we ended up deciding on, are from Marimba 1. They're part of my mallet series. They're my hard mallets, technically the LVR1s. And then the ones that he just used are double helix 2s, also from Marimba 1. More of a medium mallet sound. Beautiful sound on the instrument, great legato sound on the instrument, but maybe not quite as much attack or quite enough bounce for the piece, particularly in the 16 though. Digga-digga-da, digga-digga-da, digga-digga-da for that. Let's try one more. This is kind of another softer mallet, which maybe people love the sound of, but let's see how it plays in the Mozart. Yeah, that makes it a little bit harder on you. So that's got a bigger head. It's still a great sound on the instrument, but you maybe can hear a little bit more frame sound, and especially when you get up way towards that top octave, it's just not quite loud enough. So you're really looking for something that's going to be on the harder side, and smaller head, if possible, is a great way to go. So, okay, we talked about the general stuff. Now I have a few little specifics. This piece has these repeated notes. You just heard them in the intro that Connor played. Right? Now, some people might say, oh, well, what about sticking it this way? And there's nothing wrong with that. I would choose in a performing environment to alternate them so that I could get each one to kind of have that same sort of bounce and brightness, and it not be too like I'm just striking something. I want it to sound like maybe a flute or a woodwind instrument, like a Mozart kind of quality. So I would recommend alternating on all of those chord notes. I think that that's really a nice kind of quality on that. Okay, another thing that I want to talk about is the roll at letter A. This is another really important sticking thing. I recommend starting the roll left, so that then you can release left softly on the C sharp. So it's kind of a little bit of an awkward thing to start the roll left, but it really sets you up to be able to kind of release soft. So starting that roll with the left hand at letter A and then releasing soft. Do you mind showing us a little bit?
Right at A?
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. That was perfect. So by doing that, you can start it loud with the left, but you're already sort of timed and metered with a left-handed roll to then release soft. So that's a really great trick. You can use that in measure 17, also in measure 21. Okay, another thing is that if you are reading, some of you may be reading and some of you may memorize it. That's fine. Either is fine. But if you're reading, I want to point out that at letter D, this is one, you're a great sight reader, awesome, but at letter D, this is your time to look down. And I almost never tell anybody to look down when they're reading because that's the whole point. You should be looking at the stand. But in this case, it's okay to look down. You should look down so that you don't miss those low Ds. So that's one of those times where I would just memorize like measure 76, 78, so that you really can look down and really spot those. So. Okay, a couple little sticking things that I want to tell you about also. Second ending, you have a roll that's at forte at a G, and it's tied over, and then you release out to an A. I would recommend playing that A with the left hand. So you've got the roll, doesn't matter which hand you start with, and then release out of it with the left. And same thing in the next measure. Release left after the roll finishes. So measure 9, the A should be played left. Measure 10, the C should be played left. And that same thing applies in measure 46. You're going to play the roll with the D and release to the E with the left hand, and that can be a really, really helpful thing. Two last little sticking things. The pickup into D, I would do with the right hand, so that you really have that going, and then you can go ahead and start there. And then same thing in measure 82, it's an octave lower. And then you get down there for that. So those are the couple last little sticking things. Measure 74, right hand on the D, that's the pickup into D. And then also a right hand in measure 82 at the end, picking up into measure 83. So those are some tips and tricks for you. I hope that was helpful. And now Connor's going to play for you.